more and more by staffing firms, and there are many great options, opportunities, and budgets out there to fit everyone's unique needs. This afternoon, we'll be providing an introduction into paid advertising, how staffing firms can use this marketing option, the different types of PPC that are best suited for the staffing industry, the potential results and returns that your firm might experience, and then finally discuss how you can decide what option is best for your business needs and how that fits with your other marketing. Before we get started on that agenda, I wanted to first have you ask yourself these questions. Are you having difficulty finding new clients or candidates? Or maybe you're struggling to fill tough positions or reach the right talent. Or maybe your website traffic is great, but you just don't seem to be getting any new business from it. If your company is facing one or many of these different scenarios, this webinar is for you because guess what? PPC can not only address but also help correct some of these challenges. This afternoon we will be discussing 3 common PPC options. First, remarketing. It's also called retargeting by some individuals, and it is usually recognized as being display image ads. Pay-per-click marketing, called PPC for short, is usually thought of as being traditional text-based ads that appear on search result pages. And finally, the last type of PPC outlet that we will be discussing is paid advertising on social media sites such as LinkedIn and Facebook. Now that we have given you a preview into the different outlets we're going to be discussing, let's jump right in and start talking about remarketing. Remarketing is online advertising that allows you to display advertisements to previous website visitors that had visited your website previously. The way that this technology works is when a user visits your website, a little snippet of code called a cookie is placed on the user's browser. This signals that they are eligible to view your ads. Your ads are now shown to them as they browse other websites in the internet who participate in the Google Display Network. Essentially, you will be following prospects and candidates as they go about their normal browsing habits, reminding them who you are and what services you offer. Now you might be thinking, well, how many websites actually participate in the Google Display Network? Well, over 1 million websites, videos, and even smartphone apps participate. Some of the most well-read and highly visited websites worldwide and who are in the staffing industry participate, including a few of the websites that you see on your screen, such as Monster, Forbes, and even the New York Times. How would you like to have your ad appearing on the New York Times? Might send a very strong message to your candidates and clients. So why should you consider remarketing? First, it reminds current clients, candidates, and prospects about your brand. They see your logo, brand elements, and are then reminded of your services daily. Traditional remarketing ads are image ads and are thus able to be completely customized with different messaging and design. Not only that, it is extremely affordable. Remarketing is one of the most affordable PPC options because you are advertising to previous website visitors. And since they have already expressed interest in your firm by visiting your website, you have a much higher chance at them returning to your website and then to do business with you. With remarketing, you also have the capabilities to target only visitors who viewed key web pages. For example, you could show ads to potential candidates if they've only viewed your job seeker page. Or you could show ads intended for prospects by displaying them to employers who only visited your services page or request an employee page. And lastly, remarketing allows you to always stay top of mind. What kind of impact can remarketing have on your business? Let's take a look at how your website is currently without remarketing right now. A prospect or candidate looking for a firm that offers your services will usually benchmark you against your competitors. The more websites they look at, the greater chance they will forget about you, and you could then lose a sale without even getting to speak to the prospect. Now let's consider your website with remarketing. With remarketing, it isn't left to chance that a prospect or potential applicant forgets you. They are reminded of your brand everywhere they go on the internet and hopefully return to do business with you. To help you understand how this could help your firm, we wanted to share 2 case studies with you. In this first case study, an IT recruiting firm wanted to stay top of mind with potential candidates for a lower cost. During the space of an average month, their ads are displayed to current and potential candidates approximately 25,000 times at a cost of less than 1 penny per ad impression. It's pretty affordable marketing. An example of using remarketing for sales is a general staffing firm who wanted to use remarketing to stay top of mind with prospects and current clients who are located in a very specific area. They didn't want to just target people who visited their website. They wanted to target people who are in their key markets. During an average month, their ads are viewed 64,000 times at a cost of approximately half a penny per view. It is an extremely cost-effective way to stay in front of their target audience. If remarketing sounds like a great option, there are a few things that you should keep in mind. With your ad language, be sure that you are reminding individuals what services you offer and what action you want them to take. For example, you might highlight what services you are, or how long you've been in business, or why you're the industry expert, and then you should tell them with a big button or language itself to click on the ad and contact you. Something else that you should keep in mind is that remarketing isn't where you should get really creative or stray from your corporate branding. Be sure that your ads follow the look and feel that you use online and in other marketing. You don't want to confuse potential candidates, clients, or existing ones. Also, remarketing campaigns are not one size fits all. Every company will have unique results based upon their goals, industry they serve, target audience, website traffic, and geographic market. Keep that in mind when gauging results, and instead benchmark success off your own results and look for continual improvement. And finally, your business and recruiting needs change, so don't be afraid to adjust your campaign over the course of a year. And with that, we'll be jumping right into PPC advertising. Let's define pay-per-click advertising. It is an extremely cost-effective way to get in front of the right audience, in the right market, who are already looking for your staffing services by using search engines. Unlike remarketing ads that appear all over the internet, PPC ads appear only on search results pages or the search results pages of Google search partners. As you can see from this example, the ads appear above the organic search results as well as on the right side of the search results. The number may vary based upon the overall competition for that keyword, but as you can see, this is where your ads are always going to appear. You might be thinking, is paid search ads actually effective? Yes. Almost 65% of all clicks from search engines are driven by paid search ads. And over 40% of these clicks are going to be generated from the top 3 spots on Google, which just happens to be ads. The most compelling stat, though, is that almost 55% of all website visitors can't identify paid search ads when asked. Now that I've thrown a few hard-hitting stats your way, let's talk about what the benefits of PPC are. First, your ads are able to appear for relevant search terms of your choice. You are also able to see results a lot sooner than with other marketing options because of how quickly a campaign can get kicked off. You also have the ability to scale a campaign and its budget as your business needs fluctuate and change. And finally, you're able to make educated campaign changes quickly with items such as the ad language and the search terms used to target these individuals based upon how the prospects behave and interact with the ads themselves. So how does PPC work? In the most simple terms, it is a 3-step process. 1, the prospect completes a search on Google. That search then triggers an automatic auction, where Google sells the best ad placement to the highest bidder. This all happens automatically. Unfortunately, there's no big warehouse where everyone's bidding, but it's all taken care of by Google, and it just happens throughout the course of time. After the auction is won, the winning ad is then displayed, so a prospect can click on the ad and then navigate to your website. Now that we have discussed how PPC works, why would a staffing firm want to use it? There are many uses for PPC for recruiting firms, a few being the ability to recruit talent in a very niche market, and that could either be location or that could also be the type of position you're trying to find someone for. You can use it for lead generation as well as to advertise current or new staffing services you are looking to highlight. Firms are also using PPC to recruit for difficult-to-fill positions and as well as gain a foothold in a new geographic market. This is especially really great if you open a brand new office and are looking to make people aware of your services. To help you understand the potential impact on PPC for your firm, we wanted to share a few case studies about the results other staffing firms have seen. In the first example, a national travel nursing firm wanted to raise brand awareness and recruit travel nurses at a national scale. In an average month, their ads are displayed over 27,000 times and at about 2 cents per ad impression. To help track the effectiveness of the campaign, they defined several actions they would like potential candidates to make, such as visiting the contact page, viewing the job seekers page, and browsing the job board, to name a few examples. Their campaign has an average goal completion rate of 109%, meaning their potential candidates were completing several goals during each of their visits and engaging with the company. A prospect who spends a long time on your website and visits multiple pages is that much more likely to choose to use your firm to meet their recruiting and job search needs than someone who visits the website and immediately leaves. However, recruiting isn't the biggest challenge every firm faces. And in our second case study, a regional recruiting firm used PPC as a lead generation source in a very large metro market in the U.S. During the average month, their ads are displayed over 8,000 times at a cost per impression of around 4 cents. Of the visitors coming from the PPC campaign, 12% request more information about their services. To put this into perspective, let's consider the street that runs in front of your staffing firm's office. Now let's pretend that only people driving down the street are actively looking for your staffing services and are employers. Now, if 12% of all those cars driving by every single day stopped to ask for more information or requested an employee, how would that impact your business growth? This is a great example of how PPC can allow you to reach a new audience and increase your sales leads, something that is unique to this type of marketing. Now, you might be thinking that I've been talking about Google a lot, and I have, and I always will if you pick up the phone and ask me about PPC. And the reason for that is, even though they're not the only paid marketing or remarketing platform available, they are the most popular. They account for almost 70% of all searches conducted in the U.S., which is why we are focusing on them today. And that's also where most of the staffing firms turn when they are looking to branch into PPC. And on that note, we're going to transition from Google Ads into social media pay-per-click advertising. Social media PPC is the promotion of content or ads on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and LinkedIn to meet a campaign goal to reach prospects, engage users, or just to grow your overall firm's presence on social media. With social media, there are 4 stages that a prospect or candidate goes through when deciding to work with you or to even just like your company on that social network. First, a prospect discovers your firm. They then explore whether you are a good fit for their needs before ultimately deciding to work with you or follow your company on social media. At that point, you start delivering content directly into their social media feeds. The final stage, before the cycle repeats itself, is the engagement phase. And this is where they tell their colleagues, peers, and friends about their experience working with you. And that doesn't always mean they are actively telling people, but instead you're leveraging their voice to help reach those individuals. The cycle will always repeat itself, helping you retain this individual as someone who you will work with now or in the future, and build a strong reputation in their mind as a great staffing firm. But why would a staffing firm invest in paid marketing on social media? There are 5 common advantages of using paid social. They include situations that might sound very familiar to you, such as your target audience is unaware of you or your services, and you want to reach them on the networks they are already spending their time in. Or maybe your current or previous candidates and clients have forgotten about you, and you just want to stay top of mind and reach them. Or you might be simply looking to grow your social media presence and increase the total number of followers you have. Or possibly, social media, it just offers a unique ability to turn your candidates, clients, and employees into your brand ambassadors. But the #1 reason that investing in paid social media promotion is a smart idea, that is the fact that your non-paid or organic, as it is called, your reach, it's very limited. Users unintentionally limit your brand's reach by not visiting your page often or not being online when you share most of your social updates. However, social networks limit a company's reach on purpose. Why they do would probably need a webinar all in itself. But just be aware of the fact that social networks are limiting the number of people you will be able to reach. Facebook is a great example of this, as it is seen by the fact on the screen. And think about the fact that most of your company posts are only reaching about 2% of your entire fan base. And if you don't invest in any type of paid promotion, you're not going to reach the other 98%. However, it can be said that social PPC and non-paid social media marketing are both necessary together to achieve the best success for both. Relying upon only one of these marketing options will greatly limit your results, as both are each other's key to a great outcome. There are many social media advertising platforms for you to pick from. Pretty much every social network has paid advertising options, from Pinterest to Google+, but the 3 that offer the best opportunities for staffing firms are Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. However, due to time constraints, we will only be discussing Facebook and LinkedIn advertising today. On Facebook, there are many campaign options and opportunities to try based upon your company's goals and business needs. Facebook advertising is great because you have the flexibility to promote content to specific audiences, demographics, and even geographic locations. You can increase your number of likes by even targeting previous applicants using an email list that you import to Facebook from your ATS. And with their Facebook ads, you are even able to use your current page fans as brand ambassadors, meaning their name will show up with your page, thus encouraging their friends to like you on Facebook as well. In the 3 examples that you see on the screen, there are several samples of how content or ads might appear on Facebook. On the far left example, you can see a traditional paid likes ad. If you look closely at the top, you might see that David Stearns likes this company. And if you know David and you trust his opinion on all things staffing related, which I hope you do, and you know that if David endorses it, you might want to give it a really hard thought as well. This is an example of how you can turn your Facebook fans, such as David, into your brand ambassadors. In the middle example, you can see a piece of content highlight top job opportunities this company has. By using paid advertising, this staffing firm is able to target specific individuals who would be interested or qualified in this position in the geographic market they're looking to fill. And finally, on the far right, you can see an example of a traditional ad that might appear on the right-hand side of a feed. This is a great way that you can highlight your company and the different services that you might like to have. The one thing to keep in mind with Facebook advertising is they do have limitations on the amount of text that you can use in an image. So just keep that in mind before you log on to Facebook and try to promote a bunch of things after the webinar. Know that they might restrict you to only uploading ads with less than 20% text. Moving on to LinkedIn, you also have the option of promoting ads or even specific pieces of content. You can target all of your page followers or even target a specific audience or type of individual. You can be extremely specific in who you target by choosing to include or exclude users based upon their location, company, seniority of their current position, and many more. This is especially helpful if you are looking to generate leads and maybe even have a list of 100 dream companies you would love to staff for. By using this type of paid social advertising, you are able to get your company in front of the decision makers at these organizations that otherwise would probably never take your call if you just gave them a quick call today. To demonstrate the results social PPC can have, we wanted to share 2 case studies with you. In the first case study, we wanted to discuss how a recruiting firm that is regionally located used Facebook to increase the number of individuals who liked their page. They targeted only previous applicants, and in the space of 3 months, saw an increase of over 230% in the number of fans. And they saw an increase of almost 2,400% in the number of visitors to their website that were referred from Facebook. It's a really great referral source is social media, whether you pay or not pay. Another staffing firm had the goal of using social PPC to increase the number of individuals engaging with their posts on Facebook. They were doing some really great social sharing on their own, but they just found that they weren't reaching very many people with their posts. By using social PPC, they were able to see an increase of over 60% in post engagements, which is likes, shares, or comments on their posts. That means that each of their updates that they were sending were getting shared or commented or liked or even forwarded to other individuals. As a result of this increased engagement, they increased their post reach by over 3,000%, meaning they were able to reach the majority of their Facebook fans as well as the potential candidates or prospects with their updates. But whether you are using PPC on social media, search engines, or remarketing, don't neglect to think about where you are sending visitors. This is called a landing page. Whether it is a dedicated landing page that you've designed to help increase sales inquiries, or it is an existing page on your website discussing your services, you need to make sure that it meets the visitor's expectation. What a visitor encounters when they land on your website or on your landing page can greatly impact the outcome of your campaign. To help you see how a landing page can truly drive results, we wanted to share an outcome of a client who had been doing really well in PPC, but we wanted to see a higher conversion rate. So what they did is we designed a landing page that was just intended for PPC. The only action that we wanted people to take was to read the short little bit of content we provided and then make a decision of whether to request information about their services or leave. After adding this landing page to the campaign, they saw an increase of over 33% in the number of individuals completing the form and an overall 68% of total sales leads as a result of this. No matter what network you are advertising on or what type of campaign you are running, it is very important to track your results. Don't just look for any results, look for the right results. If the goal of a branding campaign, such as remarketing, is to simply have your ads be shown to as many people as possible, track the number of ad views and don't use clicks as an indicator of campaign success. Also, every single campaign will have a different success rate. So just because a marketing recruiting firm in Atlanta had great results with social PPC, It doesn't mean your temp staffing firm in Cincinnati will have the exact same outcome. Every campaign is unique to you, and that includes your success rates. And finally, analyze data from multiple sources. If you outsource your PPC, your online marketing vendor will take care of all this for you. They will also take care of making sure that your campaign is fine-tuned as possible to get the best results, but you don't need to worry about tracking those stats because they should be delivering those results to you and analyzing it. But if you're handling PPC in-house, utilize every data source you have available, from Google Analytics to the ad platform itself, such as Google AdWords, LinkedIn ads, or Facebook advertising. Now for the big question of the afternoon. How does PPC fit with your other online marketing? Short answer, it's just another piece of the puzzle. Not one marketing source will meet every business goal with every audience in every geographic market. But paid advertising is another great way to get as close as possible to meeting all of your needs. By utilizing the right mix of marketing, you will be able to position yourself to achieve the best success possible by including other types of marketing as well, such as blogging or other content marketing, your job board, or other inbound marketing strategies you might be using. As the main content of this webinar is wrapping up, you might be wondering what PPC would be the best fit for your business. In this case, I would challenge each of you to ask yourself these questions. What goal are you looking to meet? What purpose is the goal? Meaning, what outcome are you looking for? Is it to generate sales or recruit niche talent, or are you looking to just stay top of mind? What geographic market are you looking to work within? Is it a new market where you don't have any brand presence, or is it somewhere you've been long established? Or also, are you looking to specialize in a particular industry or staffing service? Once you've asked yourself these questions, here are your next steps. Match your goals to the PPC opportunities we discussed. Then plan and launch a campaign. However, a watched pot never boils, so don't make any large campaign changes until you have sufficient data to make a sound decision. If you flip the switch on a campaign, it goes live, and you got one click in one day, don't completely change everything just because of one individual. Make sure you have enough data to make a well-educated decision. Don't be afraid to let your campaign evolve. Test different elements out to identify and then capitalize upon the best performing elements. And for the last suggestion and the shameless plug of the presentation, if you don't know what option is best for you, or you know that your time is better spent doing what you do best day in and day out, don't hesitate to give us a call. We work with staffing firms every day and use PPC to drive results, recruit top talent, and increase sales leads, as well as helping people stay top of mind. And our team is really here to help. And with that, Brad, have we had any questions come in?
Yeah, we certainly have. Jenny, first and foremost, I wanted to say thank you so much for sharing some great information with us. At the beginning of the presentation, we mentioned that some of the information might be 101 for some of you, and some might be a little higher level. But with that said, we wanted to leave enough time at the end for some questions. We had some wonderful questions come in, and I encourage everybody to use the question field in the right-hand column of your window. Shoot over questions. Jenny and I will do our best to answer them, and if we run out of time here, we've left a lot of time for questions, but if we run out of time, we will reach out to you after the presentation and answer those. So with that, Jenny, several questions have come in throughout the presentation, and a lot more are coming in right now. First question that came up was, how do you choose keywords? Let's say you're looking to focus on traffic from companies, but you're concerned that you might be attracting job seekers. Are there specific keywords that you suggest when trying to target companies or when trying to target job seekers? So, how do you define the audience, and how do you choose the keywords?
Great question, and it's not a question that's easily answered because every company is going to have a unique answer to this question. But it is a twofold approach. The first approach is, selecting keywords that would be used by your audience. And I don't mean used by you, the staffing owner who knows your business and the correct terminology, but used by the people looking for your information about your services. Using terms such as solutions or services or other things that employers might use when they're looking for you to provide them with something would help isolate or hopefully focus mainly on employers. If you use things like jobs or even using more general terms like just staffing or hiring, oftentimes that is searched a lot by candidates. The second thing that you can do is that you can make sure that your ad copy, meaning the ads that you use and the language that you use in those ads, is tailored to the audience you're looking to attract. So if you're looking to attract a job seeker, highlight in the ad that you have the best jobs in your local area and to browse the open positions today. Even though an employer might click on it, there's going to be less chance because it has a lot of candidate-driven terms in it. And final thing is that there is not a 100% way to only target one audience, but by using those strategies of trying to isolate one audience over the other, you have a much better chance of capturing for the majority of all of your clicks or traffic being the right audience.
Great, thanks, Jenny. The only thing that I'd like to add to that is Jenny mentioned in the presentation how important it is to measure results and look at ROI. One thing that you can do with your ad campaign is, in your AdWords account, is tie it to your Google Analytics account. And by doing so, you can look at traffic flow from your ad campaigns. So you can look at what's happening once people get to your website. Let's say you're targeting clients, and you find that a lot of your traffic coming from your ad network is going to your website, hopefully a landing page, but then going to a candidates page, or maybe they're going to the job board. Based on that data, you can assume that a lot of that traffic coming from your ad campaign is coming from candidates. That might be a red flag to you that says, you know what, hey, we have to change our keyword strategy. We have to focus on more client-driven keywords, or we need a more compelling landing page. So what I'm getting at is make sure that you look at all the data available to you, look at how your ads are performing, and look at what the traffic flow is once people do land on your website. All right, Jenny, a few more questions have come in about Google's bid process and how Google determines who shows up in that top sponsored result or who shows up in the sidebar. Can you walk us through the process of, number one, how to choose your bid, and then number two, how Google decides who the heck they show in that ad area?
Great question. The first thing, how you would choose your bid is you would want to do a lot of different research to find out how competitive a term or keyword would be. This type of a strategy is used also with other type of marketing, such as blogging or content, SEO type initiatives, and we have plenty of webinars on those topics. But by figuring out how competitive a keyword is or isn't, you can start to get an idea of how many other people might be bidding for it. The more competitive a keyword is going to be, the more expensive it's going to be to get an ideal position. Gone are the days of having a single cent or even less than a quarter clicks or cost per click or bid. Now the terms, especially in the staffing industry, are usually anywhere between a couple dollars for some of the medium competition to even anywhere between $10 and $20 if you are doing something that is really, really expensive or really, really niche. What you would want to do, the first step would be is figure out what keywords that you think would be a good fit. And Google has some really good tools such as their keyword planner that will help you figure out other terms that are related, as well as report back what the average cost per click, which is the average cost in the entire industry or your area that you select, would be. Based upon what that average cost would be, you would want your bid to either be at, below, or above that. If you're below, you are going to help drive your ads to a less desirable position. If you bid above it, you're going to help position yourself to have the ideal placement as much as possible. And if you're right at, you're probably going to have a mix of results. Half the time your ads are going to be in a really great place, and half the time they're going to be somewhere else. So that's how you would pick, some potential starting points of where you would maybe want to start your bidding at. How Google chooses, though, who they're going to give those ideal positions to isn't just money-driven. They take a look at a lot of different things. They take a look at how quality your campaign, keywords, and even the landing page and destination of your content would be. If they think that you're spamming people, they're going to demote you and give you a much lower quality score. If you have a higher quality score, they're going to reward you for it. And you may have to pay less to be in that ideal position than somebody who has a less quality campaign who bid more. So this auction process, it happens automatically. It happens in real time. And just because you had a position number 1 for the day doesn't mean you're going to stay at number 1, because it also factors in your daily budget. If you've used up the majority of your daily budget, they're going to decrease you in the overall ad rank. The higher the ad rank, the higher probability that you're going to spend a lot more money. So by decreasing your overall ad rank, they're able to still continue to show your ads while making sure they're able to maximize your daily budget and get the most return on impressions and clicks for the money. And lastly, what they also take a look at is they see how well you tend to your campaign. Did you just turn it on and throw in a couple terms and use some ads that you just came up with? Or do you go in there and on a daily or even hourly basis review how your campaign is or isn't performing? Are you constantly making adjustments to the campaign to get you the best results? They look at all of that, and if they see that you're spending a lot of time and you're making the right decisions to help get the most out of your campaign, they're going to reward you because they see that you are a dedicated advertiser. If you just flip the switch, they're probably going to demote you over time because they feel that it's not a priority, which means they don't think you're focusing on providing quality content or services to the people they're driving to your website.
Great. Thanks so much, Jenny. As Jenny pointed out, there's a lot of factors that go into determining who shows up in which sponsored ad result. And as she mentioned, it's not just all about money. It's not just throwing the highest bid out there. That sometimes can work, but in doing so, you're going to be throwing out a lot of money. More importantly, it's looking at your campaign, looking at what ads are performing well. And when I say performing well, which ads are converting? When they show up in sponsored search results, are people clicking on them? Do you have a high click-through rate? If so, you're going to get a better quality score with Google. You're going to move up higher in the list, and that doesn't mean that you'll be paying more money per click. Google is looking to make as much money as they can. So if company A is paying $5 per click and company B is paying $1 per click, but their ad is getting clicked on 20 or 30 times more frequently, they're going to show up higher than somebody that's paying $5. So it's important that you understand bid strategy. If you don't necessarily understand bid strategy and just throw a high bid number out there, you're going to be throwing dollars out the door. So it's important to take that lesson and in some cases talk with somebody that understands the bid strategy. In many cases, they can help you decrease your overall ad spend while getting more impressions and more clicks, so driving more value. A few other questions have come in, and we get this one question all the time. What's a good budget for PPC? And Jenny, I know this is a hard one to answer, but give us your thoughts there.
That is a very tough question to answer, and it really depends upon what you're looking to do. Every single campaign and every client is going to be unique to you. So just like you might require a different marketing strategy as a firm that's located 3,000 miles away, the same applies when you're doing paid marketing online. So oftentimes, remarketing, it is a type of advertising that if you're looking to, just raise overall branding awareness and just stay top of mind with people, those campaigns have a lot lower cost to really enter into and be competitive with. Those campaigns can be, even just a couple $100s a month on an ongoing basis. When you start getting into the campaigns that, there is a lot more strategy and touching the campaign on a daily or hourly basis, those campaigns can oftentimes be a lot higher priced, but not always. So sometimes a company, if they're wanting to highlight their temp staffing services, if they're located in a really small town without a lot of competition, they probably are going to pay a lot less and thus have to spend a lot less on a monthly basis than a company who's in a really competitive market. So with PPC, the search-based ads, they're a little bit more expensive than remarketing, but it's a different goal. And so what we might recommend for every company in terms of a budget, it's going to change based upon who you are and what results you're looking to do. But usually staffing firms can start to be competitive in the search paid marketing area, with, somewhere between even $200 and $500 a month. And then finally, on social campaigns, they're a little bit different. Facebook has a lot of different options with their campaigns, so there isn't a one-size-fits-all option there. But oftentimes it can be somewhere anywhere between $500 and $1,000 a month if you're managing a full-fledged paid campaign on Facebook. However, there are some lower cost options that you might not get the results of a managed campaign where you're spending hours on it every single day. But Facebook does have a few options where you can just promote a single update for $20 or $30 even. And you can hopefully then reach as many people as possible. It's not as targeted as targeting this particular audience, say your email list, but it is a great way to at least start dipping your toes in and getting your feet wet to see if any type of social PPC is a good option. And lastly, if you start to wanting to focus on more lead generation, especially on LinkedIn, that's where it can really start adding up quickly. LinkedIn, they try to make sure that you're willing to spend the money it takes to reach your target audience and that one person that can make the decision. And so clicks on LinkedIn, they can be quite costly. They can be anywhere from starting at $10 per click to even several hundred if you're targeting someone who is very high level in a very competitive industry or at a company that's very large. That isn't the case for every single company who is looking to start doing any type of paid advertising. There are many affordable and lower cost paid advertising solutions out there. So I don't mean to scare you away, but like I said at the beginning, every single client is going to be unique, and so therefore your budget and where you might need to start at is going to be unique as well.
Terrific. Thanks, Jenny. Another question came in when you were talking about social media ads. And the question was, how do I determine which social media network is going to be most effective for me in targeting our desired audience? And that particular question came from an executive search firm, if that helps.
Okay. So the first follow-up I would have would be that it depends on who you're targeting. And what I mean by that is, are you targeting, your potential candidates, or are you going to be targeting, companies that you want to recruit for? So that would be the first question. But with that more executive level audience, regardless of who's buying or who you're placing, LinkedIn oftentimes plays host a lot to the more executive side because both companies and employers spend just as much time there as the candidates and people that you might be recruiting and placing. On Facebook, this is generally thought of as kind of the candidates' playground. This is where candidates are spending their time in and day out. And this doesn't mean just, your hourly temp employee. This can even be professional level individuals. Facebook is a place where a lot of people spend a lot of time, even in their personal life. So if you're able to reach candidates there, it's a really excellent opportunity.
Great, thanks, Jenny. And as you pointed out, and I just wanted to reiterate, it really depends on your audience. You know, in the IT space, maybe you want to place some focus on Twitter, building your audience there through some paid ads. You may want to reach out to people through Facebook. Facebook has some nice targeting. So if somebody mentions in their profile that they're proficient in a specific programming language, or maybe they're a CFO, or maybe they're in management, those are all things that you can use as demographics when choosing where your ads are going to be displayed. So you can get very strategic in who you target your ads to, both in geography, in job title and job function, in age. You could target people that have graduated from a specific university or program. So there's a lot of unique targeting that you can do, and which social platform we suggest really depends on your audience. So it depends on data, it depends on research, and it depends on whether or not that audience is actually active on that network. Jenny earlier mentioned LinkedIn as a platform for advertising, and we've tested it. It is expensive to advertise there, but in a place, you know, for a field like executive search, where one placement means a huge placement fee for you, it might make sense financially to run some PPC ads on LinkedIn, where it wouldn't for a general laborer. So again, it really kind of just depends on your audience. Let's see, Jenny, there's a few more questions coming in, and I know we're running short on time here, but you mentioned looking at the competitiveness of certain keywords and the cost for those keywords. Where do you get that data, and how can people on this call go about getting that data?
Great question. Where you can get a lot of that information is actually from the search engines themselves. We've talked about Google a lot, but I'll mention again, they aren't the only search engine with paid advertising options for search. So you can go directly to the social, or not the social, excuse me, the search network's advertising area. For Google's example, their product for doing that is called Google AdWords. And in Google AdWords, once you register, because they do require people now to register and sign up to be able to access that information, they actually help walk you through in selecting keywords and finding the best keywords for you. So it's all located there within the Google AdWords account and in the Google AdWords dashboard. And once you're in there, my recommendation is what you can do is you can actually come up with a couple terms. Maybe it's temp staffing, temporary recruiting, and other variations of keywords around that area. Then you also input your potential landing page. Don't stress out too much about what landing page you do or don't send them to. Sometimes simply, entering your home page of your website is sufficient information to give Google an idea of a potential audience. Then you can tell them, how small or large of a geographic area. Once you run then their little wizard tool, it will spit back some other recommended terms that they might suggest that you include. And then they finally will tell you how expensive as well as competitive a particular term would or wouldn't be. Another great thing also about all search advertising and competitiveness of keywords, you can either be very specific in your bidding strategy on a per keyword basis, or if you aren't very experienced or you're just not quite confident in making major changes at that point in time with your campaign, you can actually just set global levels on bidding. After you have anywhere between a week to a couple months of data, you'll have enough information to help you identify what you need to do. So if you're running a search campaign and you see that a particular keyword, is only showing up in the, say, 4 or 5 or 6 ad level or ad rank, but another keyword is in that 1 or 2 level position, that means that first keyword with the less desirable position, you might want to bid a little bit higher on. Test that out, see what happens, and then you can really figure out whether spending that extra money to be in a more desirable position is better. Also, once you are running a campaign, Google is really great, and they're really proactive in making suggestions on your campaign. If they see that you're getting really great traffic and high conversions from a particular keyword, they're going to make suggestions. And when they make those suggestions, they do let you know how difficult it would or wouldn't be to rank high for those terms.
Great, Jenny, thanks. Another question came in, and I think you've kind of already addressed this without addressing it specifically. And the question was, once I pick my keywords and set up my ads, do I just let the campaign run? And as Jenny had mentioned, theoretically you could, but you'd probably be throwing a lot of money out the window. What you want to do once you set the campaign up is make sure that you look at what's happening. You want to make sure that you adjust your ads so that you get higher click-through rates. You want to look at your keywords and see what keywords are underperforming and take those out of your campaign. You want to look at your visitor flow on your website and make sure that you're attracting the right people and that they're taking action once they land on your site. So those are all things that you want to monitor. When we manage a campaign, those are things that we're looking at, we're monitoring, we're adjusting, and we're trying to get as much performance from the campaign as possible so that we get the most targeted traffic to your site for the with the allocated budget. Another question came in, actually two questions that kind of go hand in hand, and they came in right at the same time, which is kind of neat. Jenny, you had mentioned earlier in the presentation that you should look at maybe considering advertising or inviting people that have applied to positions to like your Facebook page. Is there a way to import an email list and begin showing ads to specific people within Facebook?
Yes, there is. It is a little bit complicated to get set up. You jump through a few hoops, and I hope Facebook isn't listening to this webinar, but it's not the most easy to use tool. But the great thing is that once you import that list using their Power Editor tool, as it's called, you'll be able to identify those individuals as people that you can show all your ads to or only certain ads to. What you can do then is Facebook scans that list, and they see if they have any registered users using that email address. I will caution you, just to save you hopefully some trial and error and a lot of headaches, is that they won't accept a Excel file or another data file that has a whole bunch of extra fields. So be sure you clean up your list and you are only uploading just the email fields. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting there pulling your hair out with frustration. What you can do, though, once they've identified the number of people on that list that have a Facebook campaign set up, they'll let you know the estimated number of people that can see that. Now, just something to keep in mind is that just because they say that you have an eligible number doesn't mean your ad is going to reach every single one of those people. There are a lot of people out there that created a Facebook page and they maybe check it once a month or once a year, or maybe they never checked it after setting it up. So just keep in mind that just because they say you can target 15,000 people doesn't mean there's actually 15,000 active users on your list. To give you a quick idea of just sometimes the overall size that you might need to upload to reach a high number of people is, we have had several campaigns and several clients that have used this strategy where they send us their ATS export, and it's anywhere between 25,000 and 40,000 email addresses. For someone that might have 25,000 people on that email list, we've seen on average that about 17,000 or so have a registered Facebook account. We found through advertising multiple months for those companies that we're able to reach on average about 15,000 of those people. So that's a lot of people if you're thinking about the total number of people that you have their information as a result of them applying through jobs. It's a really high number of people that you could be reaching and then hopefully reminding that they should be working with you for all of their job search needs.
Yeah, and Jenny, I just wanted to reiterate, Facebook isn't only for candidates. There are potential employers and decision makers on Facebook. And by importing that email list, let's even say you exported your client or prospect list from your CRM. You imported that to Facebook. You might find that on the client side, you get a lower percentage of people that use their work email address as their Facebook login. However, the people that do are most likely owners executive management in the company. They're more likely to use their work email address for more personal things like Facebook. So it can be a great forum to catch the buyer when their defenses are down. So it can be a great platform both for candidates and for clients. Jenny, this question came in earlier in the presentation, but I was hoping you could just repeat real quick. Somebody said that they heard most users ignore top ad results, the paid ads in Google, and instead go right down to the organic search results. And I think he had some interesting study that showed otherwise.
Yep, and I was actually surprised when I was doing a lot of the different research and looking to find the most updated statistics. But in the U.S., only about 55% of individuals, only 55% of people are not able to identify an ad. Only 45% are able to instantly identify those ads. So that's over 50% of people who don't know they're clicking on an ad or not clicking on an ad. So, just because you might scroll down because you know those are ads and you choose to instead go for the organic listings and the organic search results doesn't mean your actual audience and your prospects and your current clients or future candidates will as well. So, that statistic alone says that, you have a great chance of reaching 55% of people who might be Googling your staffing service by simply using an ad.
Great. And then as we were talking about Facebook and Facebook's Power Editor, another question came in, is the Power Editor tool expensive?
The Power Editor tool itself is actually free. It's how you manage a lot of the different advanced advertising options on Facebook. So that itself is free. It's not paid. There's actually no subscription cost, if I can call it that, for using LinkedIn's ads or even Google's remarketing or search ads. What you pay for is actually the campaign itself. So no, there's no cost for actually using the Power Editor. It's just the frustration of either banging your head against the wall or your desk quite a bit, or also take the time to really educate yourself. There are a lot of great tools, a lot of great articles and white papers and ebooks out there on all of the different advertising platforms we've discussed today that can hopefully help you get pointed in the right direction for what you might be looking to educate yourself on.
Thanks, Jenny. Another question came in that I might be able to tackle here, and it was, can PPC ads help your organic search rankings? So can they help your SEO? And I will tell you that Google comes out and tells you no. When they're looking at whether or not your site's going to rank well in Google search results, their paid ads have no impact at all. And I think that's true to an extent. However, I feel like they have an indirect correlation. What I mean by that is when Google's determining whether or not you should rank well, it looks at hundreds of different factors. A few of those factors include how much traffic your site gets. So is your site popular? If you're running an effective PPC campaign, you'll get more traffic to your site, which in turn can help increase your search rankings. Another thing that the search engines are looking at is how often are people sharing and liking and consuming your content? How often are they commenting on it? That type of thing. If you're running campaigns on social network that are promoting your content, if you're running social campaigns to build your following, all those things go into helping improve your digital footprint, helping make your company appear more popular, showing Google and the other search engines that people are engaging with your content, they're engaging with your brand. All those things go into determining whether or not you show up well in search results. So while Google comes out and says there's not a direct correlation, there is an indirect correlation because paid ads are helping you in many other places that also positively impact your search rankings. And Jenny, I think we have time for maybe one more question, and it's a general question, and it really was, how many keywords does a typical campaign use?
Well, that's a very interesting question because every campaign is different. One client, we might have, anywhere between 40 and 50 keywords on average. Other individual campaigns, we may have as low as, say, 15 or 20. And then there's people at the opposite end of the spectrum, might be really high, a couple hundred keywords. The reason there is that such large scale, though, is because each of those different clients and their campaign needs is different. So if you're in a really niche industry where there is a lot of terms that get very little traffic, so they might only get 20 or 30 visits per entire, or 20 or 30 searches the entire month, you might have a lot more keywords. If it is a more general, just we're wanting to just advertise our service and we're talking about temporary staffing or something that there's a lot of different searches for, we're going to be a lot more particular in picking the exact keywords that do or don't drive the most quality traffic that is converting into prospects or candidates. So it's going to be based all upon what your campaign is, what you're looking to do, and as well as what you're looking to achieve. All of that information will help decide, what terms you should or shouldn't be using, and based upon the potential search volume and the potential traffic you might get, that will help identify the number of terms that you may or may not have in your campaign.
Terrific. Thanks, Jenny. And there are a number of other questions that came in. While we're out of time here, we'll do our best to answer those offline. And as you see on this slide here, there's a phone number. Feel free to use Haley Marketing Group as a resource. There's several people here that can talk with you about pay-per-click ads. Jenny's contact information is here. As I mentioned earlier, she is our PPC guru. So if you have specific questions or advanced questions, don't be shy. Let us know. We're here to help. You can call that 800 number and talk with one of our consultants here. You can reach directly out to Jenny, and again, we would be happy to help. Jenny, if you wouldn't mind transitioning to our last slide here, I do want to encourage everyone to join us on June 17th for our next Lunch with Haley webinar. We're going to be doing one of our most popular events, which is a show and tell. And we're going to highlight some of the new website examples that we've put together. We have analytics on probably about 300 to 500 different staffing websites out there. So we track all this information and we see what works on website design, what doesn't, and we use all this information to design a website that is absolutely outstanding, not only from a creative standpoint, but from a functional standpoint. We're going to be pointing all of those things out. You're going to see some great examples of sites that work really well at driving lead generation and driving recruiting efforts. So you're going to see some great show and tell items there. It'll hopefully spark some creative juices in you and see if there's anything that you can learn from and use in your firm. So again, please be sure to join us, and you can do that by going to lunchwithhaley.com, and we'll also be sending out email invitations. We'll also be sharing with you a link to this webinar recording in a few days here. So if anyone in your office wasn't able to attend, please feel free to share that link with them. Thank you again for joining us on today's Lunch with Haley. And Jenny, a special thanks to you. Really appreciate all of the great insight. Bye.
Thanks, Brad.